everybody. We are the Real Estate Vue, and I'm Miki, joined by my co-hosts Kim and Lorraine. Hello, ladies. Good afternoon.
Hello,
Good
hello.
afternoon.
Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone. So I think I was thinking about something as we were kind of like going through our intro, getting ready for the show, and I wanted to kind of touch upon the fact that we're sort of in the holiday season, right? And all of the craziness that goes along with getting ready for the holidays, getting ready for the end of the year, all of these different things. And so I was just kind of wondering, like, how do you guys prepare for the end of the year? Like, are we kind of putting our goals in place for 2022? Are we just trying to get through Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas shopping? Like, what are some of the things that maybe you ladies are doing in these next, I don't know, how long is it? Like 4 to 6 weeks before the end of the year?
Mhm.
Something like that?
I don't know. For me, I'm still working. I haven't even gotten in that zone yet. It's still all about finishing off the year strong and prepping for next year. So it's still a bit of, mostly business as opposed to, you know, thinking about shopping and Thanksgiving. Although I do like to shop.
That's good. Good.
So,
What about you, Miki?
well, because I have children, it's very hard to get away from, the present. I mean, my kids are already into Christmas right now. Like they are jumping ahead and they're prepping their little things, and like, so we are getting there. And there's also traditions that we like to do. We're Christian based, and so I like to do like 25 days of Christ before Christmas, where we do like scripture reading time and discuss the miracles of Jesus and all of that. So I do love that holiday. And yes, it takes me away from business, which I think it's good, because it's a good kind of a reset time for me, because at the same time, we're prepping the goals for next year. At this point, I don't think it's goals anymore. It's more putting together the marketing that are going to go out, having clarity on what is happening exactly in those details, so that when January hits, that's when we launch in the marketing and things that are happening. So that's where we are.
And I think I'm a bit of a hybrid between the both of you, because me, like, my mind is focused on my Thanksgiving plate next week. Like, that's where my mind is. Like, I want to go to the supermarket and like get all the stuff to like prep the meal. But then at the same time, like on the other aspect, I'm doing the goals and I'm prepping for next year, and I'm thinking about what boot camps do I want to go to, what retreats, and all of these different events that are now being scheduled for 2022, because that's just kind of where we are. And it sort of leads us into our topic for today, which is why we continue to go through trainings and why we continue to educate ourselves and put ourselves in these different situations for our business, because we're prepping ourselves, right? Like, we're putting all of these different things in place for the things that we're looking to do going forward. So I just thought it was just interesting how, regardless of whatever it is, whether we're prepping for the holidays or prepping for an upcoming goal, there's always this lead up, and there's always these things or these steps that we're putting into place to kind of prepare for whatever it is that we're looking to accomplish. I just thought that was interesting.
Well, I love how you're putting it. Go ahead, Kim.
Well, I was just going to say, it sounds like, you're equating. It's kind of like, oh, we're the Thanksgiving dinner, and all of the trimmings is all of the training that we've gone through and we've acquired, throughout the years, to get our stability.
Now I'm hungry.
Our business to the next step.
I mean, I wasn't specific on the specific meal, but now I want stuffing. But anyway, I'm sorry. Let me not interrupt.
So you are right. I mean, I said about Christmas and all, but in 2 weeks, I am going into the 1 week training, specifically for business and marketing and all that. And then in January, mid-January, I'm again going to another 2 weeks of training. So I like the ending of year and the beginning of year, because that's where a lot of things were settled down that will dictate how the rest of the year will kind of flow. So yes, we do continuously training and learning. But the big question, I guess, is why do we do that?
Well, and I think even in addition to that question is, well, what kind of training are we doing? Because to your point, like the training that you're going to be doing that's upcoming isn't necessarily on how to do real estate or
No,
how to sell a house or how to get in contact with a seller or how to market per se, but it's more of the developmental skills that you're going to training for. And I think that that's an important thing to point out, because as we've said in previous shows of ours, there's so many aspects that come into being a business owner and being a successful business owner that
absolutely.
you have to sharpen your skills, if you will, in certain areas, and not all the time it is in your specific niche or in your area of expertise.
Absolutely.
No, yeah, I mean, real estate is real estate. I mean, most of us, the three of us, we're doing real estate. Lorraine, you're doing notes. And I know that for us, Miki and I, we're doing a combination of some real estate training because, although real estate is real estate, all of the different parameters around it, those things change, the way, you buy real estate, there's always some new creative way to do things. So keeping up with those types of things it's very important because you want to be able to offer your sellers every, different options pretty much.
As you were talking, Kim, I keep thinking like mostly we work with people. And so, if you're listening to us going into real estate, know that it's a people's business.
Right.
You will have to talk with people. You will have to interact with people. And so people skills is a must. It's really a must for your success. Like no joke. I've been into, meetings where the person was not nice, like really, not interested in what I was saying or could not connect with me. And so I knew I couldn't do business with that person either. Right. And so, yes, we do go into trainings like we did sales and negotiation. Most of us, we do sales and negotiation just because we have to develop a higher level of people skills, how to read people, but how to interact with people, how to stay connected, the report building. All of those things are just so important because we meet, as Kim, you're saying, when you meet someone who's going through like a foreclosure, it's a very, very different interaction.
Oh yeah.
Than with a so and so.
Yep.
It is. I mean, it's very emotional when you're dealing with a seller who's going through, foreclosure. So, you have to communicate with them in a different way. You can't, it's not like somebody who wants to sell their house. They know they want to sell it. Here, take the house. We're ready to get rid of it. This person is going through, it's pretty much a traumatic experience.
It is.
You have to handle them with care.
And even those people that are saying, selling their house that the parents had lived in their whole life, it's like a probate, right? They inherited the house, they're selling it. This is huge in their life. It's huge. It's like, they've already lost a parent and now they're losing this house.
Right.
Basically, they're losing their part of their childhood, the souvenirs and all of that. It's a very, very, it's very, like you're saying, traumatic. It's a very significant step in people's life that we're part of. And having just those people skills makes it so much easier for all of us. And I think on our end, much more enjoyable. Like, you're really helping that person.
Yeah, absolutely. You're speaking to people in a way that they can understand, know, because sometimes it is difficult to understand what, is being communicated to you. So having those skills is very important.
Absolutely.
So Lorraine, like I said, you do notes. I mean, everybody knows you're the notes girl. So what types of what types of training, do you go through, for the note space?
So it's a little bit different. And I think a lot of what ties into notes is being abreast of what's going on outside of the industry. So for example, like last week, we spoke about Zillow and the fact that they are selling back, I think, about 2,000 loans or so. Being abreast of that particular situation happening in real estate kind of ties, I mean, it does tie into notes, because then now we're talking about more inventory being on the market. We're talking about valuations of properties. So tying that back into your question about notes, I feel like not only do I stay abreast about what's going on in real estate, but I also stay abreast of what's going on in the finance market. What's going on with, let's say, just cryptocurrency, for example. What's going on in different areas, because these outside factors play into what's going on in the market. So it's kind of being, and maybe that's just part of my personality of just being diversified. But that's how I sort of stay abreast with what's going on. Because, and just kind of piggybacking off of that, with the notes, I work with other investors. So a lot of times, and also touching upon Miki's point about people skills, when you're building rapport, yeah, building rapport with people, it's always helpful to have a talking point. How do you build rapport with people? You generally have a commonality. And if you are generally interested in the space that you're working in, like I am generally interested in notes, I am generally interested in finance and debt and all of these outside factors, it helps me tie in all of the information so I can better present it to a potential joint venture partner that I might be working with. So it's not, for me, it's not just attending a note lab, which is what I generally do quarterly throughout the year, just to stay abreast on notes. Because yes, as you mentioned earlier, things happen in real estate, and things sometimes often change with how you're doing a transaction. Let's just say maybe a couple of months ago it was done one way and now it's being done differently just because of what's going on in the market. So I do attend note labs or boot camps to be able to stay abreast on notes, but then I also attend and I also plug into other areas so that I can be able to tie all of the information together and really be a resource and provide value to those that I'm working with. So hopefully that kind of answers the question, but I think it's just more so a twofold. It's not just solely on notes. It's everything else that's going on.
And we live in an era where it's very easy to have those kind of trainings, right? You don't have to go, like, if your budget, I was just thinking, did you actually know that most of the CEOs and the companies, they dedicate 20% of their income to trainings? That's how they stay on top of their games. 20%, that's a lot of money. But when you think about it, the return on that money is also very significant. Think of it like, your goal, and you just come back with more skills. Not only skills, the connection that you've made because of that training, the new friendship, the new business opportunities, all of that plays into it. But I was also thinking of, if someone doesn't have that budget to go to attend those different trainings, because you have to think about the airplane ticket, the lodging, the food, and all of that. Not just the attendance, right? It's a bit more than that. In my case, babysitting. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of parts playing. But if there's a lot of online classes also that are given, which have their value also. So I will encourage people to look for those online marketing classes that you can have if this place.
University.
Yes. YouTube University.
YouTube University is like on top of the list right now. I mean, that's where everybody goes.
Yes.
Everybody goes.
Yes. And some of those YouTubers have made fantastic classes where you go and you follow their curriculum and you'll get value out of it. And this will eventually, transfer into what you're doing. Whatever you're doing, it will just upgrade you.
It could also be a source of additional income as a business owner. I mean, if you have identified a niche, and you can sort of go back to one of our prior episodes where we talked about niches and how to identify a niche and what you should do if you have a niche. But that could be another source of income. I mean, think about all of the people who have just within the pandemic said, you know what? I have information that I want to share that I think is valuable to other people. Let me create an ebook, or let me start a YouTube series or whatever. And it has developed into something because they are able to provide value. I'm blanking on the lady's name right now. It's Tabitha Brown. I believe. She was like a vegan TikTok star, and now she's
Really?
just recently opened her own restaurant just from her getting on YouTube. And this episode isn't about YouTube per se, but it's just to say that if you have information, you can have your own boot camp, mastery, retreat, like
Master class,
mastermind.
yes,
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
everybody has something of value to offer, so you just have to tap into what you're good at, what do you bring to the table, and it might be of value to somebody else. You just have to communicate that, and you never know where it's going to take you.
I love this topic of training and ongoing learning because, I just think that us as humans, we have to evolve. Like, there is no way you say, I finished grad school or I finished this, and then I'm never going back to sit down in a classroom again.
Right.
Right.
Like, if you do that, you may be thinking that you're staying at that same point, but no, you're not, because life is not static. We either go and grow, or we regress.
Yeah, you're
And
just
so,
stunting your own growth at that point
exactly.
if you don't pursue
Yes.
more education.
Yes. And you've been to like places where, like, I remember working with a realtor, and then another realtor was saying, "Oh, that lady, she's really old style." And in fact, she was old style. Like, she wasn't aware of all the marketing that could happen on Facebook, Instagram. She wasn't into that space because she stayed behind. And it wasn't because of her age. I've had other old, good old realtor that are super comfortable with social media and using this type of marketings. But she had decided that she was just staying into how it was done in the old ways.
Yeah.
And so, yes, I just feel like she is missing in a lot of opportunities because she's stuck back there.
But I think the pandemic has more than highlighted that exact point that you just made. The fact that if you were someone who refuses to change, or if you refuse to be open to the possibilities of changing or doing things differently or adjusting to the times, then you will be left behind, unfortunately. And a lot of businesses have not survived the pandemic because of the fact that maybe before they were unwilling to do their businesses online. I mean, the virtual space has imploded right now because of what we've been forced to do because of the pandemic. And those businesses who were either not staying abreast on what was going on, maybe putting themselves on Facebook or putting themselves on social media platforms to expand their presence, those businesses who weren't willing to make those adjustments are now unfortunately either scrambling to catch up or just weren't able to make that change in enough time to save their businesses. So I think to what we've been saying throughout the show, staying informed, staying in the know can also help to save your business, because
Yes,
if you try to catch up too late, it might be too late.
it might be too late. Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's ever too late. There's always time, I think.
Okay.
But,
right.
Yeah, like a different door, right? You'll say,
yeah. There's always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. That's what they say. But, I mean,
okay, I didn't mean to give any despair to anyone out there.
But even with the pandemic, it also created a new set of entrepreneurs, because people decided that, wait a minute, I don't need to go into that office. I can stay at home and I can make money. So, you have these new entrepreneurs who created their businesses from online because things were shut down.
Yes.
So it had the opposite effect, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I wanted to bring in the other subject, which was, those kind of, you'll see them like physical boot camp, right? Like we'll say like, oh, I'm going there to be in shape or things like that. But basically, it's like a mindset
It's
thing.
a test of endurance. Yeah.
It's
Like,
a test of endurance of your mindset.
yeah.
And, I highly recommend people to go through such a journey, because when you remove things physically, you actually lift them also in your head. Like once you go through those, like pushing your limit, your physical limit of like running and jumping and swimming in ultra cold river, which is what we
Mhm.
did in
Sliding
Nevada.
down a rock mountain into
Yes.
water, then you don't know what's underneath you.
When you go into those crazy experiences, and face your fear, because there is fear involved into that, like after that, that's where you're realizing, like, hey, that's so, and talking to this so and so seller, or meeting this, or launching this marketing campaign, or working through this is really not an issue anymore. Like, I can
Right.
do that. I love those kind of boot camp. So those are also a different type of training, but I do think they are necessary in your just in your growth, self-improvement, self-growth. Yeah.
I mean, and Miki, you
Yeah,
just mentioned fear. Sorry, Lorraine. Go ahead.
No. I was just gonna say really quick that what you're describing is just a testing of the mind, which is also important when you're in business. So yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you just mentioned fear, and fear is something that holds people back a lot. You may not think about it. It may not be at the forefront of your mind, but I think that is what holds people back a lot from getting things done daily, from being able to, if they want to start a business, to start a business, if they want to move to another state, just in anything in general. And it's all your mindset. So once you get past that fear, and going to some of these mindset training sessions that helps you put all of that behind you, you'll see that you're definitely able to move forward.
Absolutely. 100%. And
Yeah.
it's crazy, because you may think, of course it's not related to business, right? You'll say, oh, it's not related to business. But when your business is you, which
Yeah.
is the definition of being a business owner, like, when the business is you, then it 100% will affect your business. The way you see it, the way you deal with it, the way you run it, it's going to affect your business for the better.
Agreed.
I mean,
100%.
it's no coincidence that you'll see some of these successful corporations take maybe sometimes take their management staff, or sometimes take their whole staff onto retreats. Not
Yes.
only sometimes just to bond, but just to release whatever tensions, or to better understand their people. Like, it's all a holistic type of training. And again, I don't think it's any coincidence that this is an ongoing thing where you have successful businesses, because it's something that you should continue to do. Similar to one of we had Natoya listening, and she said you should always be learning, and it's true. You're always, not to say that you're not in the present, or you're not appreciating the time that you're in right now, but you're always looking to be better, or always looking
Right.
for that next level, or that next stage.
You always put yourself in a position to level up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Level up.
Level
I should
up.
get some like audio, like pay Sierra. Okay, never mind. Yeah. Once we get our editing skills up, I'm like, level up. Okay.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
But it is true, because if you don't level up, then guess where you're going?
Level down.
Level down. That's it.
There
Me
is
and Kim are like, level
there is
down.
no statu quo. Like, a lot of people think that there is a statu quo. There is no statu quo. If you think that you're in like a statu quo, like not moving, it's because you're leveling down, like slowly, and that you're not seeing it happening. But it is.
Yeah, you've
happening.
plateaued, so
Yes.
you have to find out what can you do to get yourself to the next level. And sometimes it's just a simple training session.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I've been into trainings where what I got out of it was clarity. Right? I went into it knowing that, I know that person is just going to teach on this type of thing, which I already know, but I'm going for the clarity of it. Going at a deeper level, because I know that the first time it was new. I didn't understand everything and all. I'm now going to clarify a lot of things. And so it's always so good to have this continuous training and to have the drive for it, kind of like the appetite for it,
Yeah.
Yep.
and make friends along the journey. So you tell them, hey, next time I'll see you there. There you go. No,
I think that's the best part about it.
isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Like, I love it. Like, I
think you
know
can-
that I will see you in the training and we'll be like, we're going to hang out at the restaurant after that, lady.
But that's part of the networking, right? Like that's
It
how
is.
you when we talk about, okay, how do you find like-minded people within your space or just even within business? It's through these trainings, because if you're there for a particular purpose, they're usually there for a similar purpose as well, which is the betterment of themselves or their businesses or both.
And you have no idea who you're sitting next to,
Yes.
Right.
you know? And that's the beauty of it. It's like, you have no clue. And then by the end of the training session, you're like new best friends.
Yes.
Love it.
I love it. I really love it. Like, and then you meet people that it would have been so hard for you to meet in your
Yes.
circle, in your neighborhood, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It would have been very hard to meet this type of people there. So I love going into trainings, and I always recommend, whatever you're doing, once you graduate from school, just keep an eye for that.
Yeah. I mean, and during this holiday season coming up, if you want to give yourself something, give yourself the gift of self-improvement and find a training session to go to. And yeah.
One of those master classes online, they're fabulous gifts, I think.
Really, now that you mentioned, one real thing that came to mind is that I think we need to separate like some of the formal education from some of the education that we're doing for ourselves within our businesses or for our self-improvement. Because a lot of times in school, a lot of those classes were forced, right? Like we had prerequisites, or I forget the other technical term for it, but there were classes that we had to take in order to be able to graduate. And sometimes those weren't enjoyable. And I think maybe we sometimes correlate, okay, me having to educate myself through formal education versus this is something that I actually want to learn more about and grow and develop within. So sometimes for those who are listening, know that the education that you choose outside of formal education can be much more rewarding than maybe what you initially took from some formal education. So don't let that stop you from going to trainings or masterminds or boot camps to be able to learn about a particular topic.
Yeah. And once you work on you through these training sessions, it'll all trickle down into your business.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a great point, Lorraine. Thank you. I love that. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, ladies, this was a great
I think
topic.
we left the people. Yeah. Gave a lot to think about over these next couple of days and over the holiday
6 weeks.
week.
These next 6 weeks till the end of the year.
Wow. I didn't even count them, but I trust you. Wow. 6 weeks.
Well, yeah, I'm just estimating. Don't quote me on that.
She said, I trust you.
All right, ladies. Well, since we're not going to be on air next week, everybody have a happy Thanksgiving if you're celebrating Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And don't forget to give us a like on our Facebook page and check us out on YouTube. You can watch replays on YouTube. And until when? Know your why.
Know your heart.
And know your purpose. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.